Good morning.
Hey there. Welcome to the 18th installment in season 1 of Carteret CONNECTS. I'm Mike McHugh, the host of Coastal Daybreak, along with this guy, Richard Clark, news director for the Carteret News-Times. And here we are on the hump day of this week, May 20th. And in a few days, it's Memorial Day weekend. Doesn't feel like it, does it?
No, it really doesn't. It's kind of chilly for Memorial Day. And
it's just that we've been stuck in this.
Like the rain
and cold. Well, I'll take the chilly weather, but it just, as far as you look at the calendar, it's like Groundhog Day.
It feels like we're going into fall. Is what it does.
Like. Yeah, we should have the Mullet Festival and the Season Festival. Winding up and teeing up here. But no, it's like every day you wake up and it's like, okay, now we're going to talk about more of the virus, more of COVID-19.
We're not going to talk about that today.
No, we're going to talk about things that have been affected by it, maybe more in a positive way.
Hopefully in a positive way.
And some positive things that are coming out. You can go and check it out for yourself on this website here. Check out the tab at the top under multimedia or under videos. Karenina Valentine's second and third installments. I know she's got 3 done. 2 have been published. Yesterday's was about Roland's restaurant in Morehead City.
Carteret Breaking Waves is what it's called.
Yeah, Carteret Breaking Waves is the name of her segments that go on the website here. So check it out. She did one earlier with officials from Emerald Isle talking about the beach crowd, which was huge. Maybe you were part of it. Yeah. This past weekend, it was more like July 4th.
I wonder how many of the locals go as opposed to people coming from out of town. What do you think the percentages are on that?
I bet you local to visitor is probably 60-40, 70-30, somewhere in there. Yeah. I mean, when I go there and you look at the license plates and you see the big families coming, they're coming from, Carteret County, they're coming down from Jones County, your stomping grounds. Or even, Lenore County. You can get a lot of Kinston people that go out to the pier. And I know people over in Swansboro, Hubert are coming out there. I bet you it's in that percentage, 60-70. And then you see the out-of-state license plates or just people coming from Raleigh and Cary.
I see a lot of that on 58 coming this direction. So
yeah. So we get a good mix now. Parking's been a challenge at area beaches, even in Onslow County, just because of the huge excitement, like getting out on the beach.
Yeah. People just want out.
And Emerald Isle hasn't opened. I think they will be opening the west access.
It was still in question last I remember, but again,
it's under construction. It's nothing to do with the virus. It's under construction, but that's needed. There's like 125 spaces there. Mm-hmm. Beautiful facility. Just a lot. Gorgeous. And I'm anxious to see what they've done with the renovations.
It seems like every beach has the bridge like they do here, where it just backs everything up.
Yeah, and it's just during.
I guess this is a necessity because of the water and all that kind of stuff. But it just seems like. Well,
you kind of usually they're important.
Unless you got a boat car, yes.
That's right. Unless you're Ted Kennedy,
But anyway, be safe out there going to the beach on Memorial Day.
I know people bark about the backup on the bridge, during the season, and that's what it is. It's during the season. It's like, if I'm coming from Swansboro and by Redferns, it's already backed up, and I know I got another 2 miles, and then it's across the ridge, but. It's a seasonal thing. There's no. I don't say. Hey, we should build a second span. Mm-hmm. Too much money for that for the use it gets.
As I told you before, it's interesting to me because I lived in South Florida where it's exactly the opposite. The winter is where you get all the tourist traffic, and the summer was just like, one of those movies where it was at a beach town and it's empty, but it's sunny and the beach. It was great.
That is strange.
It was so great. Yeah, and here it's the complete opposite. So
I never really thought of it that way.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
If it's hot here, it's.
It was scalding down there. Let's be clear. I called it the Devil's Kitchen, but in the summer in August, I lived across the street from the beach, and I had to walk through this really rich guy's thing to get to the beach. But there'd be nobody out there. It'd be him in his big gold necklace with a thing and a Speedo. He was a big fat guy. Yeah. And nobody else. I'd take the dog out there.
Oh, that's nice.
And it was like August. And it's hot and the water's great.
You didn't think about that.
It was fantastic. Yeah, exactly. But boy, about the beginning of October, it would be packed. Snowbirds.
Yeah.
Michigan and Iowa.
There's nothing better than Florida in like February, March.
It was fantastic.
Especially if it's cold wherever you're coming from. You go down there. That's just
it wasn't.
That's nice.
Now don't get it wrong. You cannot walk on the concrete where I lived. You couldn't walk on the concrete after about May. Yeah. Barefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hot.
Well, think of your pets doing it.
It was Fort Myers that I was at. So
yeah. Well, there's times up here where the asphalt, the street is too hot, and that's a good little PSA here, courtesy of Carteret COnnects. If you're walking your pet,
yes,
and you think it's hot out, well, if it's the midday, do your walk in the morning and the afternoon, but put your hand on the asphalt. If you can't hold it down there, think of your poor pet's paws, because they're not going to be able to walk without them getting singed.
I thought about that. I took actually a Labradoodle running that doesn't get to go very much from a neighbor we were taking care of, and it was hot. Saturday?
Yeah.
And
it was low 80s.
When I say running, I was shuffling. The dog was trying to run.
Poor him.
Yeah, and I thought about that though, because it was kind of hot, and was wondering if he was used to that, because if a dog's used to it, their pads are a little different.
A burn's a burn.
Oh, and
that's the other thing that drives me nuts is going out to the beach and people want to bring their dogs and they have no cover.
Yeah.
So there's the poor dog sitting in the desert
in the hot sun,
and they might got a little bowl of water.
Yeah.
But it's great to bring your pet out to the beach as long as it's tethered and it has a leash. And
you also, I'm of the opinion they need to be used to that.
Yeah.
If you got a house dog that doesn't go outside, that sits in the air conditioning, you can't take him outside to 100 degrees all at once and stay out there 12 hours.
Yeah.
It's just not.
And clean up after your pet if they happen. It's whenever they come off that rim.
Yeah.
I go to the West Access in Emerald Isle, and every dog that goes out there, first thing they do is they pee on the sand, and then if they, that's the rain and then the thunder. But the sense that dogs have their smelling sense is so strong. Immediately when they hit the sand, they know, okay, this is where I have to go.
Yeah.
So you see them all hitting it. The most egregious act I ever saw on the beach. This was disgusting, but we can say it here because this is a family program. I'll keep it clean. I was walking on the beach, and I don't know if I had Monty, my other dog. It may have, and I'm walking on the surf, and the tide's coming up, and there's a gentleman walking his dog towards us, and he's got one of these long leashes on, not like a leash you'd buy at a store, but like a rope,
Right.
And in between us, almost equal distance, was one person sitting on a lounge chair. And you can imagine the water is a gorgeous day on Emerald. The waves are just lapping up right to about the base of the guy's lounge chair, right? So I walk and I start making the move to go up on the sand, go around him and avoid that dog coming. And I do that successfully. Well, the guy with the other dog passes the gentleman while walking in the wet sand. And as he passes him about 5 or 10 feet just past him, the dog squares off. And it's like, well, this will be interesting. And the guy, again, he has this long leash. So, the dog starts to square off. The guy's walking the dog, or walking with the dog. And now he's parallel to him. He continues to walk, and the dog's still doing his business. He's dropping like a 3 or 4 pointer on the sand. And the guy just keeps walking past. He's got the long leash. And when the dog's done, he just keeps on walking.
Yeah.
Now, the worst part about it was, here's the poor guy in the lounge chair. The waves are coming in. And now the turds are starting to roll and roll and roll right to the base of the guy's chair. And what do you do? That was the most egregious. The other one was this guy would always bring out an Irish setter. Beautiful dog. You don't see Irish setters much on the beach. And again, he had one of these long rope. It might have been the same. It wasn't the same guy because it was a different dog. And I saw him, and I saw the dog, starting. And a dog, either peeing, what that looks like. But then when they're doing business, it's that tails out at a straight angle. And the dog does his business. He drops a couple pointers on the sand. Guy walks over, kicks a few grains of sand on it, and walks like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is, here comes the family from Cary, to the beach. And the parents are all happy to have their children on the beach for the first time. They got their sand pails, and they walk out on the beach and they start digging. And guess what they find? They don't find sand dollars,
Well, that's the equivalent to leaving your basket in the parking lot after you leave the store. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just a courtesy thing.
Well, so along the lines of the bad pet owners, there's bad parents. And I hope there's no parents. If we know you're doing this, we're going to block you. No, we can't do that. Well, what are we talking about? We have two people that
my mom and my mom.
So I know my mom doesn't do this. What I'm about to say is, when you're in a parking lot, and I've seen it at grocery stores, I've seen it at the rec center in Swansboro, and I see it at the beach.
Right.
The balled up, taped up diaper.
Oh.
In an empty parking space where a car had been. Now, What sound like Jerry Stiller on Seinfeld?
I have seen
What parent changes a diaper and leaves it on the party?
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
My God, it's not like it's
disgusting.
Yeah. You have garbage cans. You have garbage cans at the parks where
I
you're
saw
doing
that not long ago.
Or guess what? Take it home. It's your kid.
I saw that not long ago. Hey, don't even get me started.
That is just rotten, bad parenting. It's disgusting. I mean, it's disgusting.
Well, you just know what the house looks like.
Oy.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
Yeah, maybe say maybe it's pristine because all their garbage is spread out around town.
Yeah.
No, bull. That's horrible.
Yeah, that's bad.
Horrible. Anyway,
that's
that aside. Those are the bad things. It's going to be a kind of a wet early weekend. Friday.
It's not supposed to be sunny.
It will be later. It'll like Sunday, Monday.
Oh.
Nice. Yeah, we're going to have not so much this heavy rain.
What's Saturday supposed to be like?
Saturday's partly sun and clouds and like a 30% chance of rain.
So it's going to rain.
It's going to rain, especially around the coastal area. So, but you might get lucky. You might get lucky.
Yeah, I need that job.
A lot of times too, though, it is like that. This is Eastern North Carolina.
Yeah,
the weather comes in, and we checked in with Les still today, and it's
and
Wednesday.
And look, I'm gonna be honest. Personally, I'd rather have this than the humid infested. Everglades thing that we get sometimes. I don't like that.
No, I like this cool weather. I'm digging this.
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
We'll have to turn the air conditioner.
I'm too old and too fat to be walking around shirtless. So what do I care?
Just keep Omar the tent maker.
Exactly.
That's right. Get Omar hooked up. But some exciting things are happening in the world of sports. We already saw the first NASCAR. It's first NASCAR since the hiatus.
Supposed to be one tonight, but it's probably
going to get washed out.
It's going to be postponed till Thursday.
Weren't they doing something like truck races or
races? Xfinity's already been pushed till Thursday at noon.
Don't get that.
They'll make the call and shortly on the NASCAR race.
See, they got to giddy up because they got the Coca-Cola on Sunday.
Yeah.
So
they'll try to run it Thursday. If they can't get it in Thursday, they'll probably just cancel it.
Yeah, because I think they have other races now lined up.
Yeah, they do.
After two in Charlotte.
They've actually pushed it to Bristol and Martinsville.
Well, you know what? It's not like they're having a refund.
Right. They don't have to give
outside
money
of
back.
Network dealing with the advertisers. That's their deal. But they don't have to get tickets back.
And they'll just push that ahead. They'll kick that down the road to the next race.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. I was looking at there was a story I read yesterday about how to safely put people in stadiums, and the example they used was college football, which we've talked a lot about. Starts,
Texas A&M,
Texas A&M Stadium, Kyle Stadium. It seats like more than 100,000. 108. Okay. Thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
Good numbers. But you read
I read the story.
So they showed one section, like the 50-yard line seat. So that section holds 340 seats. And the way they spaced it out with social distancing, taking into account, they could accommodate 40 patrons. That's tough. I think what's going to come down to is much like the 6-page directive that the state of North Carolina has given to restaurateurs about how they can safely open and allow people inside. There's one item in here. It says that limit number of people to a table to 6, unless it's the same family.
Same party.
Unless it's unless it's the same family. But the hostess or waitress doesn't have to ask if they actually are a family.
Right.
So like a whole tribe, the whole Manson family can come in. They have to be blood relatives, but no one's gonna call.
So they'll get around that at football like that.
So that's what's going to happen in the seating. So you're going to say, well, it's a family of
17.
It's the 17 of us. We all go to the game,
Yeah.
But some of the restrictions, like in baseball, I was reading, and I didn't bring that over here for this broadcast, but they're talking about the simplest things, like as far as, imagine this, baseball. Okay, so you got a runner on first base, and typically the first baseman is shoulder to shoulder with him because they're, they can take leads. Well, as soon as the ball's in play, they're supposed to stand 6 feet away. So that's going to make it interesting what the base runner does as far as a lead.
Well, they'll
try to pick off.
That's the problem with all of it is, once you start playing, all bets are off.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to get to the point where it's okay to do that.
It's okay to do it. Now, the other thing is they don't want if a ball put into play after it's done, hit it out to left field, that ball is removed from the play.
Well,
and where does it go? It goes into the dugout. What do they do with it? They didn't say. What about foul balls? Fans can get them,
Yeah.
They don't want players to throw it around the horn. For instance,
right.
like, when they make an out, they throw it around. They throw it around all the players and back to the pitcher.
Yeah,
I bet the folks at Rawlings are saying, we got to make a lot more baseballs. They better get those.
They don't care.
They're all get that Haitian sweatshop cranked up. And
yeah, exactly.
Or they made it in Haiti, aren't they?
I have no
idea. They
are
one facility now.
Well, that's the problem, and that's the one thing NASCAR's got that the rest of them don't. Even the pit guys who have to be around one another, essentially, you're wearing a full bodysuit, and now they got a mask on underneath that other stuff. So really, it's about as safe as you could get.
Yeah. Plus, they're outside,
right?
You're
outside,
and they're in an area of pit road where if you ever been to a race, just with the cars going around,
but they're not touching anything.
You got a vortex, you got a breeze going through the pit road.
And again, they got gloves on.
Yeah.
They got a full body suit. Yeah, full fire suit. Yeah. So it's about as safe as you can be. So that is the one thing the other sports won't be able to do.
Now, one sport that started, and they had great numbers over the weekend was the fight, the UFC. Now those guys, that's close contact sport, right?
And as I told you on the radio, it was interesting because you could hear it. And when I say hear it, you could hear
it. Now, I don't watch that. Is that real or is that the fake?
No, that's the real deal.
It is.
Yes, sir.
They punch and they hit each other.
Oh, man. Yes.
And they have women.
Yes.
And they're in shape.
Yes.
Yeah, that's part of the draw, isn't it?
And I'm pretty sure that they would all those women would just clean my clock.
Do they draw blood?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
So what do they knock each other out?
Well, not generally. Generally, they're tough enough that doesn't happen, but they do stun them. Most of the time, what happens is they beat one of them until they can't defend themselves and they stop it, or they get them in some hold and they have to tap out.
Now, what are the women? What do? They just pull each other's hair?
No,
they strip their clothes off? No, really. I mean, what do they do?
They do the same thing the men do.
They don't, but they don't do like a mixed double tag team.
No, that's fake.
It's like a guy can't.
Yeah, no.
Guy can't be up on a.
No, they
so
don't.
the women fight when they're in shape. Those girls.
They fight. Look, matter of fact, I just watched. Oh, I can't remember her name now.
Gwen, some
Chinese girl, actually. Yeah, Gwen. Yeah. And but she beat the daylights out of this girl. I mean, she beat her to a pulp, like that kind of stuff. Yeah. It was. Woof.
It's like Gwen versus Stacy.
Yeah.
I'd pay to watch that. It's a smackdown.
Oh, don't listen to him.
Smackdown.
Nah, my baby can't fight. She's too,
She's a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, thank goodness.
She's a cat lady.
Yeah, thank goodness.
So I never watched that. So I don't know the first thing about it. So
but the point
do
is
they
that,
go on a circuit? Like, are they fighting in Detroit today and then Chicago?
Well, that's how they used to do it. Now they're fighting at a central location, which I think might be Dana White, who owns UFC, bought an island just for this.
Is that a lady, Dana White?
No, it's a guy.
Okay.
But
I had that call. I had a caller that was on the radio, and it was for our Chick-fil-A science question today. And it was Fran and Newbern. Well, my Fran, I know is Francine Wood. So I said, well, I'm glad she's on the line. Let's go to Fran. I'm a man. I'm like, that's a man.
Man.
It's a man. So
but the point was, you can hear all the UFC action that you don't ordinarily hear, and it's a lot of thuds and a lot of. I
thought that was the fake stuff, like the championship WWF was.
No. UFC's a real thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want any of that.
Well, they're in close quarters.
Matter of fact, it's a little brutal for my taste, and I love boxing and stuff, but it's brutal.
Yeah. It's like street fighting.
With a little bit of rules,
without weapons.
Yeah. With a little bit of rules.
Yeah.
You can do anything. You can't knee them in the head when they're on the ground, and you can't shove their head in the ground. But everything else you can do. You can literally choke somebody out unconscious.
Really?
Yeah.
What about kicking?
Kick them wherever they want. Anywhere.
They work.
Like one of the big moves is to kick them in the shin so they can't stand good. I'm not making this up. Any UFC people will tell you.
What about the boys? Are they kicking in the boys?
The boys avoid that. We know how we are with that kind of stuff. They don't do that.
They don't. But
they don't. Well, I don't think they even try. I mean, what guy does that? No.
You want to win. Can they bite?
No, that's the unwritten rule of guys. No bite or anything like that.
Tyson did.
Yeah, and he got disqualified too. No, you know that.
So it's just straight up kicking,
punching, hold. You can put somebody in an arm bar and break their arm if they don't tap out. Yeah, it's brutal.
Well, anyway, that was.
This is the watered down version. When it first started, 15, 20 years ago?
It was the ultimate.
They had no rules.
Yeah.
And so it was really brutal. Dana White and his group and some of the others have come in, and since made some rules for it that have tamed it down and got it to where you could kind of put it on TV.
I wonder if there's like little like intramural like peewee leagues of.
Absolutely, there is.
Really?
Absolutely.
But they must wear all the head.
You can
These
go.
guys don't wear a head. Do they wear a head?
No. Only thing they wear is little half gloves on their hands that have about that much pad, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah,
So if your kid wants to get into that,
they're barefoot.
Why
Yeah,
don't you just play soccer, kid?
they have it. I mean, you could go do a MMA training
MMA. That's what
any
it's called.
number of places around here.
Well, I guess it's no surprise they did good over the weekend. I mean,
Yeah.
I was probably the only one that didn't watch that because
They did well.
about that.
The German soccer they had
German
on TV
soccer.
on Fox Sports 1 did well. Most
Did
viewed,
you watch that?
No, absolutely not. Most viewed foreign soccer match ever or something in America.
Well, soccer by its very nature is an international sport, so they're going to get good numbers. But to kind of bring that over here,
Mm-hmm.
I can't watch. I mean, I'm that desperate to watch live sports.
I'm not a soccer guy. I've been waiting to see what soccer does because they've been preaching this wave of soccer
No,
forever.
they've been doing that when we were kids.
Yeah,
and we had
it
Pele.
just hasn't
Remember?
happened.
We had Pele.
Yeah,
He
I think ultimately the only way Americans will embrace soccer is if we have one of the best 3 players in the world. Period. Look, Americans. Here's my theory. Americans don't like to be bad at anything.
Yeah.
And our men's World Cup team is terrible. So the only way we'll follow it is if we get a good-looking guy that is the best in the world, like Michael Jordan or Tom Brady or Babe Ruth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way we're going to pay attention. And then we have to be winning. The women's soccer does that, but as we know, that's a different podcast. It's women's soccer.
They brought over somebody from the Birmingham or one of those English clubs to Los Angeles.
David Beckham. David Beckham, but he's past his prime.
Yeah, but you need somebody.
We need Tiger Woods to come up,
Andre Agassi in tennis,
and to be the best in the world, and be marketable and be winning. You know, I personally think that.
But it's a team sport.
You know what I think?
That's
I think this kid, whoever we're talking about down the road, he's going to grow up either in the military family or overseas. I have a theory that American coaching is part of the problem with American soccer. That's just my opinion.
But then maybe it's going to take a generation or so to get that.
We've already had a generation.
I know. We've had several.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I just, I think you're right.
That's just my theory. I don't know.
The difference between it being a Tiger Woods or I said Agassi is those are individual sports. So you're gonna have to get this guy in the field, and he's gonna have to be like Michael Jordan. Yeah, okay, I get that.
He's got to be able to carry the rest of them. Here's the thing. First, we have 2 problems in American male soccer. Our women's soccer team is the real deal. So we're not talking about them. They win all the time. But American men, the problem is this. First off, the best athletes in America are not playing soccer. That's number one.
Right.
The best athletes in every other country in the world are playing soccer.
Yeah.
So they're right from the get-go, we got a handicap. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I think our philosophies and strategies and things of that nature are behind the rest of the world. How could they not be? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
And basically, we're Asian baseball to the major leagues. Mm-hmm. You know, the Premier League and all that, they're the real thing. We are the minor league.
So where are America's best athletes? Where do you find that?
They're going to other sports.
Which is the most? What do you think is drawing the most talented?
Well, right now it's a mix right now. I mean, if you're just doing numbers, football, because there's 53 people on a roster, I personally believe the actual best athletes. Say you were doing some Dan and Dave decathlon type stuff. Yeah, the best athlete we have play basketball.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you're doing everything.
Constantly, more so than hockey. I mean, that's a real skill set.
Hockey, you glide a lot. It's a skill set, but you glide a lot.
You got to be able to skate,
and you got to be tough.
You know, you can all run.
Yeah,
now you got to dribble a ball and jump 12 feet.
Right.
Get your head on the backboard. I don't have that problem. I can run, but
I can't do any of that. No.
It's a dime under my feet.
But I just think that American men's soccer is a long way away, and until we have a top 20 player, individual, we're never going to be competitive ever. So. Anyway, that's why soccer in America is going to always have a problem. Because at the end of the day,
I would welcome that. I would hope that would happen. I mean, look what
and we all do.
It's not
every 4 years at the World Cup. You know what I mean?
You talk about Michael Jordan and rounding out your television viewing for the past weekend. Maybe we'll go out on this note. Of course, the most watched sports show was the segments 9 and 10, the final 10 segments of the Michael Jordan
Last
Dance, which was excellent.
Which was the number one show over the weekend.
Yeah, I've watched. I got through half of 9, so I got.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Did you watch the rest now?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Come on now.
So, but I'll have to.
As you can see, I'm a basketball.
But that would, it's not Michael Jordan. Took over basketball when he got into it. They already had their stars, but I agree with you on the soccer. I never thought of it that way.
Think about it like this. Think about if we had a 22-year-old kid that was, obviously just fairly good-looking kid that you could market, and they got behind him. Then all of a sudden, you throw in the enthusiasm of the 4-year World Cup, and all of a sudden, America qualifies and gets down to the nitty-gritty. Yeah. They're in, say, the final 8. Think about the publicity and the wave behind that. Now, and this kid is legitimately good, not somebody we hope is good.
Yeah.
We're talking about, we're sending out Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So I think that is what soccer
say
needs.
Too. This person's going to be doing things that it's like, wow.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes.
I mean, so
Absolutely.
soccer involves a lot of things. One of which is kicking. Okay, maybe he's left-footed, but he kicks a rocket.
Right.
Okay, so he
He's
can kick it from the other side of the field into the net.
He's legitimately better than everybody else except maybe 1 or 2 people.
And he can sky, he can jump, he can head the ball, he can pass it, he can dribble all that with his feet.
Like I said,
make people dizzy.
When you start having that conversation, the best soccer player in the world, he's in that conversation. Yeah. Until we have that, we will never be competitive. Yeah. It's simple.
No, I think, you know what? I think we're a culture. I know I'll watch anybody that is on top of their game and has enthusiasm and passion.
Well, it's like,
I'll watch a person play marbles if they're that into it. Seriously, or tiddlywinks, or hopscotch.
Well, it's like women's soccer. For the last, since Mia Hamm, we have had some woman in the conversation of best female soccer player in the world.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah.
And that's why the women's team is good.
Yeah.
We don't have a guy playing right now that's American that is in the top 50.
Well, I think
period.
And I think you go back to looking at Title IX, and the reason is you have these females that have opportunity in public schools and then into college. That was their sport. Whereas you say the athletes, they may not take. This is a kind of a weird statement here because soccer's so big here in Eastern North Carolina, specifically Carteret County, Onslow County,
around the military
around here. Yeah, but soccer's big. But you talk about the athletes. They go play. They go the 3 sports: football, basketball, baseball. If you were looking at a 3-star athlete in high school,
right?
Soccer, down here it's very popular. Other areas, lacrosse is popular, but you're not gonna market that on a professional level.
And
even though that's a challenging sport,
right? Oh, it's really
lacrosse.
challenging. Yeah, I played lacrosse a little bit. Women's sports, the problem is not men. I know that's the great narrative. The problem in women's sports, and we're not talking about participation at the high school level. There's a lot of that. Mm-hmm. But there's a reason that participation level and the participation level in college does not translate to money down the road is because women simply don't support women's sports. Right. Men support men's sports. Like it or not, if you said that women cannot go to an NFL game, you'd still fill the stadium. It's that simple.
Right.
If you took any women's sport and said men aren't allowed in, what would you have left? That's the question you ask yourself.
Go to a WNBA.
Right. It is what it is.
Even unless you're at the high tier level in D1 college, University of Connecticut for women, even Chapel Hill. Other than that, there's nobody in the stands. You're not going to, you can go to a D1 men's game and fill an arena, but you're not going to really see that in the ladies.
Like when Connecticut basketball female, they were really good. Yeah. They would fill their stadium, and you have these pockets of it, but on a whole, they don't support it enough for the TV money to be there. Yeah. And the great narrative is, the men running TV don't want to whatever. But the numbers just don't show it. Yeah. They simply do not show it. Currently the only female version of the sport that can hold water is Serena and women's tennis. Mm-hmm. It's the only one that's close to the ratings and things of that nature.
But the other,
and it's still not.
But the other thing is figure skating, and that's a sport because they're athletic.
Don't get me started.
No, it is. Like my mother, and your mother probably concurs on this. They'll flip over the TV dial to watch figure skating.
Yeah,
and it's an Olympic sport, But say what it is.
Don't get it.
Say what it is.
They are athletes.
Again, skill set.
They are athletes. I have a problem with any sport where they judge who won and not who won.
Yeah, I know, but
that's not their fault.
But you're talking about an audience,
right?
I mean, hell, the same thing could be said for swimming because
I have the same problem with boxing when they go to the cars.
Yeah.
That's why if I had my way, we'd fight till somebody couldn't fight.
And look how that is in the Olympics,
right?
You always remember those bouts we had with Sugar Ray Leonard, and the Russian judge gives him a 6. It's like, come on, man.
That's what I mean. I don't like anything you have to judge and you get somebody's opinion. It just, I'd rather there be some finality to it.
When in the Olympics too, it's funny that skate. So when they would do the Olympics in a European country, there's such, I can't say I said it last week or the last episode, the P word. They're such babies over there. They're such wimps. The judges' scores are 5, 6.5, 5, and rather than like we do here, boo, you're crazy. That little light whistle, like just say it, just boo. No, they don't have that little light whistle.
Well,
right, and it's like fingernails on a blackboard. You hear it out there, a little whistle, like you little,
It's you know what? I kind of like some of that. It's like at Wimbledon. It's different than the U.S. Open for tennis. Mm-hmm. The crowd whistles and stuff instead of going all crazy like we do. And I enjoy some of the difference. It makes it different than the other one. If it was constantly like throwing beer cans.
What's funny though? You think about that. You think about Wimbledon, and it's very staid. It's very quiet, and the fans don't say anything. And over here, they're raucous and they're throwing stuff in American tennis. Back in England, in their House of Parliament. When they're all they're talking over one another, and over here it's very quiet. You don't do that. It's weird, but in tennis, it's funny. Like, why is tennis? I mean, tennis is like that, quiet, and so is golf. Except at one tournament in the Phoenix Open where they have fun,
and they let them do it.
And you know what? The players know that, and it's okay. When you and I golf, we're chatting in your backswing. Hey, watch this. Watch Richard hit a big banana over here. In golf, it's like. Quiet, please.
Quiet.
Please.
Yeah. I think they should be allowed to make noise.
They should. If they're that good,
I feel the same way about tennis.
Click, 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 click.
If you're griping because you can't serve the ball because it's too loud, then you probably shouldn't be out there. Yeah, that's how I look at it. But
I went to a couple of tennis matches, and I used to like to watch tennis. You talk about changing the sport when McEnroe and Bjorn Borg.
My guy.
Oh my! I love that.
I love it.
I mean, was he obnoxious? Yes. Was he from New York? Yes. But you're absolutely crazy.
He was great.
But you know what? He had an eye. If he said that ball was, he was right.
Because
he would go back to it and show it.
Well, and he is an example of what I was talking about with men's soccer. McEnroe had talent. Period. He was uber talented at what he did. And he didn't necessarily have the physical characteristics that you would want compared to like Bjorn Borg at that time.
Yeah.
But he had talent. He had an ability to play tennis that was God-given, and it was sharpened through work, but he could just do what other people could not do.
Yeah. And then you had Ilya Nastasi.
But he wasn't as good. Again,
it was nasty.
McEnroe was legitimately uber talented.
And then what happened was he opened the door, and then you had Andre Agassi come through with his hair. He became a celebrity. But he was good.
One of the things I heard McEnroe, not to get too far into the weeds, but was technology. The rackets changed.
Yeah.
And that changed everything.
Just like golf.
Yeah. And when you grew up playing one way, and then all of a sudden everything changes, you're kind of at disadvantage.
Think of those guys, lacrosse back in it was a wooden racket.
Wooden racket.
It was about that big.
Wooden racket with a lot of give to the netting. So, that was one of the things that why McEnroe could volley so well, because he could control the ball, because the net gave it gave the ball more spin.
That's good.
When Agassi and him came around and we get these graphite rackets that are wound tight as a drum, that's why they hit hard.
And then Sampras just took it to the next level.
Well, he was the real thing.
Yeah. And that became the prototype.
Sampras was probably
the template, what they look like.
He was probably the best player until probably Federer.
Yeah.
Federer's probably the best.
You talk about, again, when I was in high school, the tennis, you would lump tennis players in high school, the tennis team and the golf team.
Tennis and golf.
And we actually had a ski team. Okay,
wow.
so
I knew you went to a hoity-toity school.
they were all like the country club sports.
Yeah.
I swam, but
Again.
yeah. But the thing is, you never thought of like tennis players as athletes. But I'll tell you what, man, you go to a tennis match, the first thing you look at, especially and also men and women, the legs.
Yeah,
you know, the legs. I mean, they are in. I mean, when you say, hey, that person's got a nice set of legs, they're tennis.
Look at Rafael Nadal, who's currently number 2 or 3 in the world. He is in shape, and he's one of those players that runs a lot.
Yeah, and the breadbasket.
He is in shape. Yeah.
You know, and I used to play a lot of racquetball, and you know,
it's not the same. It's
no, it's nice. It's complete. And the reason I liked it was because you never had to chase the ball.
Right,
it came back to
of course you did.
But I had a good set of legs, and still do. When you lose your legs, you know what I mean. It's like that. When you lose your legs, you've lost the match. You know it. You can still have the upper body strength and know what you want to do. But as soon as you lose it, your opponent knows that, and you just can't get from here to there.
In basketball, everything's short. When you start coming up short, you have no legs left.
You're gone.
So anyway, we better cut this off. We've been talking about an hour about tennis.
We lost our legs.
We lost our legs.
Anyway. We'll put this to rest, and we'll pop open a new can.
See you soon.
Carteret COnnects next time.